First
Okay.
in class,
And we're missing like
a forum.
everybody.
Everybody.
We are also 2 minutes early,
Yeah.
so.
Who, oh,
It's
Chris.
Chris and Cynthia,
Okay.
so,
So-
it'll just be me and Chris.
So, where do I go here?
Okay.
Launch meeting. I hit launch meeting, right?
Yeah.
Meetings.
Yeah.
Launch meeting.
We already had the conversation.
Did I not hit launch
I sent you that
meeting?
email, by the way, Brian.
Thank you. I'll look at it.
It's fun. It's interesting. I also put my brain thoughts in there, so have fun reading those.
I don't know, there were a lot of comments about it, so.
It'd be cool. And I know that there's some hurdles, but I think that there's more of a,
Video.
polite way to put this.
Start
I
video.
think that it's more so that it's us trying to be friendly versus what's actually
Recording.
yes or no.
Oh, hopefully I did that right.
All right, welcome. Meeting minutes. Start there. I'm sure you heard from Cynthia that she will not be here today.
Yeah.
So she's got the crud that's been going around.
I still have it, by the way.
Oh, good, thank you for being over there.
I mean, I don't think I'm contagious anymore, but.
Yeah, no, I still got a little bit of it, but it's, that's been fun. So meeting minutes, yes, had a chance to review. Yeah.
I have.
Yes, yes, you did. So I'll make a motion to approve those minutes.
All right, I will second it.
Okay. Then moving on, FEMA Bank Stabilization Project Resolution. I'm assuming that is a Mike Maples.
Sure, so we had, Great West presented us with the stream bank stabilization plan with three alternatives, I think. We sat down with the engineers, kind of looked at everything. It was very obvious that the preferred alternative was the preferred alternative. We had the public hearing on it at the senior center a couple weeks ago. Not much comment. I think you had a little comment with that,
I did.
but. it
I was
all-
in favor of it.
Yeah, it was all good. Nobody,
And I had some questions, general questions, they weren't even comments.
Can you tell me your name so I can put it in the notes?
Chuck Warren,
Warman, oh, yeah, I know.
Wyman, W-Y-M-A-N.
Y-A-M-A-N, okay.
and, so, I'm trying to find, what's the gal from the Parks Board?
There's a lot of them.
Cornfield.
Cornfield.
Melissa?
Madeline.
Madeline.
Madeline had some comments, they were pretty much all pertaining to the area further north, which is not in the area we're working, so they didn't really apply. And, now basically, we're just, the next step is to get a resolution through the council to accept the determination, or to adopt the FEMA Bank Stabilization Project Alternative Analysis Report for the city of Red Lodge as prepared and presented by Great West Engineering. It's pretty straightforward, like I said.
Do we have any documentation on like where it is or maps?
Yeah, I got a whole giant thing right here.
I'm not familiar with it,
55
so.
pages of it. It's basically from just upstream of 9th Street where that old bridge abutment is on, what street is it?
It's on 8.
8, down to the end of.
Almost 10.
Yeah, right, and not all the way down to the abutment by the power station, stops before that.
Can I ask a question?
Here.
Yes.
It says that, I read the packet, it says it's experienced problems with the eroding east bank. What is the problem?
On the east side,
Well, that's what it says, I'm just writing from I read in the packet that this is on the agenda because they're experiencing eroding, problems with the east bank. And I was just wondering.
No, I don't think that's why we're doing the project.
Well, it came under that, on the agenda.
On the what?
On the agenda,
Oh,
I read it today, and that's what it said, that city was experiencing problems with erosion on the east bank.
Yeah, I think that might have been, I don't know, I think that might have been a typo or something. I mean, I think there were some problems with some of the seedlings they planted last year, or
Okay.
whatever it was.
Which
Got
agenda are
washed
you
away
referring
during the high
to?
water this year.
Which one, today?
Right, we got
This-
nothing to do
This
with
meeting
us.
or the tonight's meeting?
I'm thinking it might be a typo,
Yeah, I think it was a typo. I think it was supposed to be.
because it's the west bank that's eroding.
Okay,
Yeah.
beautiful, well, that's a nice thing to catch.
So,
I have,
that's like,
I have some comments on this project too, if it's an appropriate time.
Sure.
So I work with Fishwauk Parks, we do the permit reviews
Sure.
on these projects, and I don't know, I have not seen the plans, but I got an idea what they might be. But I just wanted to make sure that we're
That's the West Bank.
we move through this permit process.
I think-
And that everybody knows that through that process, projects get modified sometimes, so
Okay,
it might not be.
well,
No,
we're
and I
gonna,
think that was part, that, I think Great West is fully aware.
Okay.
And part of this, why this was a preferred alternative, based on what it says in here, and what we were told, is that this alternative was probably the most likely to get permitted, whereas the other alternatives probably would have difficulty getting permitted, because they wouldn't meet, there's no rise conditions and things like that.
Yeah, well,
This
from-
one is pretty,
From our standpoint, it's not a matter of whether it can or can't be permitted, it just might have some modifications.
Sure.
And make sure, I just wanted to make sure everyone was aware that would be a thing. So,
Yeah, I think that will be a bridge we cross going down,
okay.
down the road.
I'm sure they're gonna try to get it.
I mean, we can't do it without a permit, and if you guys want us to change it to get a permit.
No,
we're gonna have
yeah,
to.
that's what I mean, and,
We don't have much
and I
choice
made
in the
comments,
matter.
so, I mean,
Yep.
the permit process can't take a little, so, I just wanted to make sure everyone knew that that was a thing.
Well, I can,
So that's good.
they're gonna stick around, I'll give you this.
Oh, okay, yeah, that would help, that would,
I'm gonna-
that might speed up reviews.
Cool.
Okay.
And just, as I was looking through this, it does say the West Bank of Rock Creek, so if you wanna see it.
Sure, I have links.
So,
Well, I mean,
But otherwise, Riverhead,
I was confused.
they're gonna leave.
And where are you seeing that?
it's on the
I didn't
resolution,
know you guys gonna.
resolution to adopt the FEMA Bank Stabilization Project Alternative Analysis Report. with
In our,
city of Red Lodge.
in our main agenda?
Yeah,
Oh, sure.
in our agenda packet.
Okay, which is right here.
The first whereas, the city has experienced problems with the eroded west bank of Rock Creek as yet
I
regularly
did
tonight.
not.
I've got it.
You got paper?
Yeah,
So-
we do.
Do they do, see this?
I can
Looks
send you a
like we're-
PDF of it too.
Doing it right.
It's not you.
Okay, that's-
Okay, so just to kind of put this back on,
Okay, we wanna work with you. so.
Yeah, perfect.
so we'll get kind of back onto here real quick. So any other notes with the stabilization project? We have 2 resolutions. Looks like we still need resolution numbers for those, but it'll just be a discussion tonight. Okay.
Where, I'm so confused. Where is
No, for
this resolution you're talking about, the West Bank?
It is in our packet. It is page, what page of the packet is this? Page 61 of 68. It does not have a number at this point, but there is a resolution to adopt the FEMA Bank Stabilization Project,
Okay,
which is
I'm
that,
sorry, I was looking at action items and, so it's down under Public Works and it's on page 61. Thank you.
you got it. Oh, sorry, now I see you're saying it's
Yeah.
an agenda.
I was like,
This is first exposure.
okay.
Okay.
And are you gonna give like an overview of the project tonight?
You know, if that's necessary, I'll probably just call in and have Bailey or Brandon do it over the phone or something, or have them zoom in.
Okay.
That'd be great.
Yeah, that would be great, because it's,
So,
A little bit of context, I think,
Yeah.
would help.
yep.
I mean, it's literally, at this level, we're just basically saying, we're gonna do we wanna pursue the preferred alternative, which makes the most sense, is easiest to permit, and costs the least amount of money, and gets the job done to stabilize those banks, so they don't further erode.
What is the preferred alternative?
To basically reinforce those banks from like where that 10th Street bridge abutment is down through and basically tie it into what was done under the permit that you guys had.
So I can synopsis it a little bit, because I'm careful.
He knows
Yeah.
more about it.
So from the upper extreme bridge abutment.
Yep.
Come down where that west bank has been falling in,
Yep.
including this year. They want to, I'm not real clear whether they're filling much, but they were gonna fill a little bit and then rip-wrap it and get that done. They're gonna do all the rip-wrap to the grade of the river as to what the runoff grade is. Can't tell you those numbers, but that was their intent. The current FEMA rip-wrap that's in place already at Ninth and goes down behind the Campbell property, which I know you guys are familiar with, they're going to make sure that that's in correctly and that it's sized correctly. And then basically right there where that ended, they're going to cap that.
Okay.
And then the other thing is KLE, we're not sure why, how, or whatever, you know, last year, or right after the flood, they filled all that in below, adjacent to my property. So I got permitted to remove it all because it was all foreign material and hazardous
Yeah.
cement, asphalt, garbage.
Yeah.
And so we removed 650 cubic yards of material out of there. And so they're going to, but when they did that, they went through the vegetation that holds that bank. And so they're going to revegetate that. And so, of course, my big concern is that it's done a little bit better than what was done across the creek.
Yeah, where we just lost them all.
Because, yeah,
Yeah.
and so that, they're gonna revegetate that so that that bank stabilizes and all that. That's the only thing they're doing kind of beyond the Campbell cap on what's that current river.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much for that.
You're very welcome.
And hopefully we'll get a very similar presentation. That helps quite a bit. Having context, love context. Okay, so backwards to the agenda. Review applications for Northwestern Energy Grant, for solar carport and restroom roof at Lions Park. Alan Best has been so kind as to put together some grant applications. Both Brian and Mike Maples have been reviewing those. From what I have seen, we do have some concerns with the expenses associated with the carports, just in terms of putting in proper footers to make sure that they're engineered correctly to be compliant with commercial carports for the city. So I'm gonna wait real quick.
Yeah, Mike said it was gonna be north of that $10,000 mark, but
Yeah.
how far north is he?
Yeah, that's, I think, the question at this point. I know that he did get to speak with, the solar company. Just hold tight here for a second.
Yeah, that sounds good, thank you. But
Okay, so,
we'll have somebody zoomed in for the discussion, Great West.
perfect. Thank you very much for that. So we're talking about the applications for the Northwestern Energy Grant. And,
Did you get my email this morning?
we did.
Yep.
So,
How far north of 10,000 are you talking?
what's that?
How far north of 10,000 are you talking?
Quite a bit.
Quite a bit, like 100 or 50?
I don't know, I'm hoping, I'm not gonna say till I get some numbers back.
Okay.
Okay.
I did get, so this is kind of a rendition of what it would look like. And I wanted something that would withstand the public and snowplows and the weather. With concrete footings that come up above
Mhm.
grade so that
So they don't take out a
snowplows
pole?
and cars get hurt by them.
Yes.
What they engineered up is, I think it's a good design. In order to meet the wind loads, we have to have those footings down 7'3" in the ground, all four, there'll be four of them. That's what I'm waiting for prices on, is what it costs to put the kit together, put the footings in the ground, and then we will have to run a new conduit from the panel on the public restrooms out to one of these footings to get the solar power back to the
Would it
grid
go into
power.
that meter?
Yeah, so that means,
Okay.
so, and I should have those numbers by the end of the week. The price just for the steel for this is about 20. I'm guessing that, I don't know, I'm not gonna guess. I'm gonna wait till I get.
Yeah, okay.
But it's gonna be, it's enough that we need to have this nailed down in a budget before we put it in a grant application.
So currently and this is, and Alan did make a note saying anything in the bold is subject to change. Right now, he has it estimated at a total cost of $35,000, and the grant would cover 90%. We currently have it in our budget for $3,500, is that correct, or is there more in our budget?
We put 3,500,
Because it was
Towards,
10% match.
you know, but I think this is cart ahead of the horse. Let's figure out what it's actually gonna cost.
Sure.
And then if we need to go back to the drawing board on what the city can do for a match, we'll
Can I-
figure that out.
Can I ask a question of Alan?
Yep.
Alan, is there, that 35,000 that you had put in, can that be changed quite a bit, or is there a maximum?
Yeah, absolutely. It can be changed up. It's one of those things in bold that is subject to change once you get more information in. Working backwards from the 5,000 total budget for the both grant matches, the estimate on the restrooms would only need $900 for a match, and so that would leave 5,000 minus 900 is 4,100 left for the carport match, and this is all assuming a 10% match amount. But working backwards from that would provide up to 41,000 of requests from Northwestern Energy, which would be 6,000 increase from the 35K estimate.
But even if it went to like, let's just say 60,000, the match would be 6,000 for the city, right?
Yep.
It sure could be. Historically has been.
Okay.
Okay.
And the other thing on the public restrooms, and I don't think it's a big thing, but we will have to get a variance for Northwest Energy because I think I might have talked about this last time, I can't remember. The meter for the bathrooms is actually on the Earth Depot.
Oh.
And it's a requirement that the solar disconnect has to be 10 feet from the meter. Our solar disconnect's gonna be on the bathrooms 125 feet away, so we'll have to get a variance from them because we won't meet that requirement. I talked to Northwest Energy about it, and they wouldn't guarantee that we would get a variance, but they said that we should go ahead and put the grant in, and then we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. So,
Okay.
just so everybody knows,
Cool. So we've got essentially a green light
for the bathroom.
for the bathroom. That's awesome.
And we just gotta get the budget shored up a little bit on the carport,
So we're,
to make sure, I just don't wanna get into a situation where we budget $10,000 for something that costs $50,000.
sure.
Understandable.
But it sounds like we'll have responses to this by the end of the week, fingers crossed.
Yeah, no, I
And-
think, but the contractor, I called to get a price from on it, called me today, he was sitting down working on the estimate, so, I expect, he told me Thursday he'd have me
Okay.
so Friday.
Okay. Great. So, and then in terms of the applications, Alan, they look fantastic. Again, we do have I appreciate you putting those items in bold, just so it's easy to be like, okay, these are the items that may change. On a whole, and also thank you for drafting up those resolutions. I did go through and edit those, just made them a little bit more formatted for city. We'll see if Lonnie can assign some resolution numbers to those. But essentially, we can have that for discussion at probably the next meeting, so we can get it into the agenda packet, and then we can have it up for the following council meeting, which then would buy Mike some time to get shored up numbers, make sure our budget looks good, then also have enough time to be able to submit that grant. Does that all sound legit?
That sounds great. Thank you very much, Chelsea.
So you're talking about the second meeting in October?
Yep. That would be the voting, the actual action. We'll have discussion next week, so I can actually get those resolutions with numbers on them to Lonnie, so we can actually have those in the packet for discussion. Okay. Lovely. Look at us go, just cranking right along.
You run a good meeting, co-chair.
I love telling people what to do. All right, so then we also have review of RLMC 614, reserve parking space, handicap parking. We did briefly talk about this earlier this summer, and it kind of took a back seat for a minute.
And I think we were both going to bring it up at the, Bird Lodge Business Association meeting, and I think
I don't
neither of us were able to make that meeting.
Correct.
So we did want to get input from them.
Yeah, and I think more so I want to go back through and reread that code and just wrap my head around it a little bit more. Again, haven't looked at it in probably, 3 months now? Is that where we're at?
It's been a couple months. I just threw it on the agenda because I thought I had it on the future agenda for a
Yeah.
couple of meetings, so I thought, let's see where
We're in the future now.
we're at.
Yeah.
So maybe it's our October
Yeah, I think
Red
next
Lodge Business Association meeting, we can.
have a discussion, but.
Do you guys think you have too many or too little, or?
No, so there is something in our code that allows for you to submit for a reserved parking space in front of your business.
How about for
Or your house too, I think.
Yeah, it doesn't specify,
Get on that.
so frankly, I don't know if I'm super,
I didn't know that.
yeah, it's pretty, open-ended and very
It's a good thing
affordable.
people don't really know
It all
that.
came about because the county wanted to have some signs saying 30-minute parking only, so people would be able to access the county building. And they were granted that,
Mhm.
and so we want to take a look at the,
Yeah, I think
The
more so
code.
that's something that we need to actually look at I want to understand it better before we even bring it up at
Parking spot tomorrow.
right, yeah, instead of bringing it up at a business association meeting, I think we wrap our head around it and then we have discussion on what holes we have. So, because I think that this opens a can of worms that could be,
Oh my God, I can't even imagine.
yeah.
so
Yeah.
should I put this on for next week, next
Do we get
meeting?
Yeah, I think we should, I
parking
think we
for our
should.
service animals?
Let's try and find that and have that included with our,
I just like
agenda.
parking
This
down
is just
generally,
like our
everyone
public
has a
works
reserved spot.
agenda.
Put it in, okay,
Yeah, so we can have like a little,
put it,
so we can have it for reference
Make
at
a
the
copy.
next meeting. I think that would make sense. But yeah, I'm glad that you brought it back up because it does need to get addressed.
And, yeah, and I just would like to say that I think, honestly, that the only time that it should actually be granted, if we could put this in there, would be if someone was handicapped and could not, needs that spot right in front of their house legitimately, to get in there.
Even that.
Because, because there are people, that, if they have to park a block away and, their wheelchair or their, it just,
I'm just saying, what's the lifespan of that? What
Yeah.
happens when they sell them?
well, it goes away.
So, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it's
why I
not,
think
it's not,
we need to.
I think it's something they have to apply for every year.
But I think your can of worms is kind of like the service animal thing.
Yeah,
Some people need service animals legitimately, but where's
Right.
legitimate?
yeah, but not everybody gets a handicap sticker, there,
Yeah, but also there's a lot of people that have handicap stickers.
I know. Yeah, and
Parking is already something-
government buildings, where the citizens have a right to be able to access
See,
their
that's
government.
different to me.
Yeah,
That I
then-
agree, that I can agree
So,
with. I
because
can
we
be on
do
board
it with
with.
the city right here, city
Mhm.
business only, and now the county has 30-minute parking, so that people,
And I know we talked about, we had a conversation of do we designate one section per block that is handicap accessible,
it already has one.
on
No, I
every
think-
Main Street block?
well, we
Yeah,
talked
there's
about,
at the corner, it's a blue thing, there's handicap, every corner
Yeah.
has handicap.
Yeah, on the side street.
we were talking about
Yeah,
doing,
that's fine.
30-minute parking
Right, the
on
30
every
minute
other block,
unload.
others opposite side, every other block.
Yeah.
That's what we had kind of,
Yeah, that was a
landed
discussion
at.
as well.
Yeah, we already have the handicap.
We have the handicap, but then
Oh,
what
this is
about for
different.
folks that are,
this is
for
just
Junction
limited.
7, that wants to have someone who can come in and out? For, again, the Pollard, for people who are dropping off luggage, for people going to Pizza Co. to pick up their pizzas, having 30-minute only parking on every block. Again, this conversation becomes a lot bigger.
And I think though, then you really get into the enforcement thing.
Yeah.
We're currently can't even enforce
And
the
that's-
4-hour parking, so how are you gonna enforce
Yeah.
30 minutes?
And that was
Like,
the other part of the conversation that we had, is you're gonna have a lot of
Linda
people.
can come out and point and say, hey, move it.
I know. Yeah.
Webcams.
I just like it that it's all public
Yeah.
parking, and
Public right away,
that's-
public
yeah.
right away.
And if it's
My
a
fault.
government entity, then, you know, that's different, because everybody needs to be able to access their government.
So, yeah, I think that we familiarize ourselves very well with that, and then have a conversation on it.
So, yeah, good luck.
It'll be great.
Yeah.
Okay, so Parks and Sustainability Board updates, I had updates last go, and then I was not able to make it. Sustainability Board this last go, because I was sick as a dog.
I was there, but I don't remember what we talked about.
I know,
I think solar stuff.
I bet there's some people here that do know what we talked
did
about.
we talk about recycling at all?
I think it was the same thing we
We
just
can talk
talked
about
about,
it now.
was solar stuff,
Yeah.
and where we're at on the current projects is, they're right here, I just gotta send in the interconnection agreements to Northwest Energy, and then we gotta figure out Henry's schedule, which is,
This is for the water treatment plant, solar?
no.
Is that what you're talking, okay, what do
No,
you,
we're talking about Public Works, one that got approved last year,
okay,
and the recycling center.
oh, okay,
Those are in the works, moving slowly. And
Yeah.
we'll probably continue at that pace until we get Henry going.
Yeah, the last Sustainability Board meeting, I had gotten to that, we're still talking about Arbor Day grants as well, more so focusing on tree studies and dangerous branch removal, et cetera.
Yeah, I think what we know what we're doing, we're doing tree removal.
And then also,
Public hazard trees.
then
are
also,
identified in the pre-licensing list.
yeah,
That's what we're doing.
Yep. I love it, big fan of
We've
it,
talked it to death.
I adore it,
We don't talk it anymore.
perfect,
That's what we're doing.
all right. Okay, then we also spoke about DEQ providing funding for a feasibility study for the microgrid.
I think we covered this last
We
meeting.
came to the conclusion in that meeting, we're not doing that.
Okay, perfect, that's, I was not there, so thank you for that.
So, that was a big one, I remember that.
Okay,
So
thank
you
you very
came to
much.
the conclusion, no. Hey, if you guys don't mind, can you go aside and talk, or?
I'm sorry, didn't realize we were that loud here.
Okay, thank you.
It's a very small room with only a few of us.
That you're not moving forward with a microgrid
Correct.
facility.
Then they do continue to search out options for the reusable bags. And then last time I was at the meeting, and again, this was not this previous meeting, but the meeting before, recycling center talking about the drive-through process, just to address concerns of safety. And then being able to offer more services, including, curbside pickup is potentially an option. So again, we kind of talked on those.
We're waiting.
That being said, we have you here, so would you like to, do you have anything to say? You said you have some good news with recycling.
Oh, I do have good news. I didn't come, I just came.
Okay.
She's running
So glad
for,
you did.
she's running for Ward 2.
Oh, excellent, congratulations.
Thank you. I do have some good news, and I was gonna read this at the meeting, but I think I can't say this till the last of the meeting from my understanding of the agenda. I just didn't get over with now, and I'll go home.
Sure.
But, it sort of makes me cry because we work so hard, and, it's just such good news. Yesterday and today, Kyle loaded 88 bales of paper and cardboard to go away. So 44 cardboards went to Lawton, Oklahoma, they make paperboard down there. And then 38 bales went to Mountain Fiber in Hiram, spelled R-U-M, not R-A-M, Hiram, Utah, for insulation. So we got rid of 82 bales of paper and cardboard this week.
That's fantastic.
I know, it makes
Did
me
we get
cry.
paid?
Well, I just saw the bill of lading, so I know it's gone.
Okay.
But as far as the money, I don't know that yet.
Okay.
It's too soon.
Yeah, no, for sure.
but I
Because
just
I was wondering
super
if, like,
happy.
if I hear that we can make money off cardboard, so I'm excited to hear when we do.
Well, it's going to legit businesses, I looked them up on the internet, they're live and cooking, so.
Can you repeat those things? I'm trying to type fast, but I didn't catch all the numbers. So you had 88 bales of
82
card.
bales in total.
82 total bales, okay. And then
44 of cardboard went to Lawton, Oklahoma,
44 bales of cardboard.
paperboard,
Cardboard went to Lawton, Oklahoma.
and 38 mixed, the mixed paper in the back wall. That was Mountain Fiber in Hiram, Utah, Hyrum. Hiram,
Mountain Fiber and HYRUM
in Utah, and for insulation.
for insulation. And do you know what the cardboard in Lawton, Oklahoma is used for?
Oh, yeah, paperboard. And
To create paperboard.
I saw a picture of bales of cardboard like we have going in a conveyor belt, and they jump off and they start making cardboard.
Nice, thank you for that.
Awesome.
That's part of,
Super happy, I'm relieved, because, sometimes you don't know what's going on.
No,
And I just
yeah,
wanna tell everybody.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool.
and that's part of our ongoing thing is for, doing our 1-year review of recycling.
And I saw that on the agenda when I was reading everything today, but it said future, so I wasn't prepared to say anything about recycling, because it said, I don't know what that means, it
Yeah.
says future.
It just means that we have a
Solid.
pretty full agenda, but we want to have that conversation
Okay.
once the agenda opens.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was a holdup on the finances part, I'm almost done with that, I just haven't had time, honestly, to look at it. And then the Sustainability Board agreed to help with that kind of study to find out where everything is going, what it's getting used for. So it's not just like a feel-good thing, that we were directed by the mayor to look into that.
I do know a lot of it's going to buildings, to Earth First, and then the glass is going to Missoula, but I think it's a lot of it's my fault, 'cause I need to get on it I'm going to do that, so.
Yeah, and I mean, we know that,
This is a
but
start.
where does it go from there, is what we
Yeah.
wanna know.
Yeah.
Like, does it just go in landfill?
No,
Does it go in the-
that's, knowing where it goes.
It's
Crucial.
One-
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's
that's
amazing.
wonderful, so thank you.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna leave then.
Okay.
I do have a question about, the ordinance about parking on public lands, but I might just text you a question, if you could just ask that for me tonight.
Ordinance of for parking on public land?
No,
Camping?
camping in town,
Yeah.
so,
Oh, yeah.
that's
okay.
on the agenda, and
Yeah.
it might be really late, and I'm just,
Are you in land use?
Different committee.
That's for.
That was,
Yeah,
that was
planning,
the land
planning.
use
Yeah.
planning, yeah.
that's land use,
So I don't know that I have the best person to answer,
But right
we
now,
can
it
find out.
is, you cannot camp overnight in the public right of way or on public lands unless it's part of an event and permitted.
I didn't mean to usurp this thing, but my concern is enforcement. Have the police department been told they're in charge of enforcing?
That was, and that's actually in the ordinance. So one thing, we would like to preserve some of our time that we do have, because we only have about 20 minutes left to go over public works. But yes, police is aware, we will be discussing that. I would recommend, if you haven't, the ordinance is in the packet for
All right.
It's online, yep, so that is in there.
And email the mayor if you have concerns.
Or us.
Because he's in charge of directing the police to,
That's good.
directing the chief to enforce it.
I just wanted them to be told, not surprised, and trained, because here's your new job, and they're gonna say, how do we do this? So,
Yeah, and that's been in the ordinance for years.
Yep.
So, not that it's necessarily been followed by our citizens.
we all have a great evening.
You too, Ann.
Thanks for coming.
See ya.
Okay, so then going on to, parks update, then, so again, the last meeting I was at was last month's meeting, or I guess this month's meeting, next meeting is next week. But we did have a comment on, from the Night Skies folks, as well as the folks at the Whistler Observatory. Specifically, there are county buildings right across the road from the Whistler Observatory that have bright lights that shine right at it. When they approached them, they said that law enforcement recommended having those lights and that they would not shut those off. So then the mayor did go through and actually spoke with the county officials, and what it was is they had some of their lights shot out after the observatory had gone in, so that is part of the reason the lights have been staying on. So
Like
that,
shot out?
that's what it
Somebody
is,
shot them
shot out. Yep.
Shot the lights out.
So
Can they
again,
point them down?
No, you mean somebody went over and shot him?
Yeah, I know,
she means
but,
can
yeah,
be
but like,
pointed
not
down.
if they put them back in, can they point them down instead of out?
So lights are back in. That being said, we will be having more discussion on that at the next Parks Board meeting. So just if there is any further action that we choose to see. So, that is on our agenda next week. Let's see, just so, essentially, we made that recommendation or had that discussion. Again, talked about Arbor Day grants because a lot of it overlaps. The feasibility study for the trail underway, we've obviously had these discussions within city council already. Also talking about the Rock Fork Inn, just kind of getting our brains turning of what that can be in the future. So I really look forward to seeing what Parks Board comes up with and just the community on a whole.
Yeah, are they planning on doing like some public,
And
like,
we haven't even gotten to that
yeah,
far
just
yet.
like input
but-
from, because maybe, someone has a great idea we haven't thought about.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I think,
Flood park?
yeah, the waterway.
That's your base.
The Rocky Fork Park, but yeah, so again, mostly just having that put on the radar, so kind of thinking about how we can approach that and how we can open up those discussions to the community. Also talking about the Eagles Nest, how that is underway, and it'll be about a year or two before that actually becomes reality, but it's more and more reality every day, which is very exciting. Budget was approved for $85K, which we all know. And then there's also some updates that are happening throughout the parks. One thing that will be happening is, they're gonna be a little bit more pertinent of having updates of the regular parks at each of those meetings. So, and having people that kind of take accountability for each of those parks, so we can actually avoid a situation like the roundabout, which I take 100% responsibility for, because I'm pretty sure I was the one who said I adopt that park, and I did not.
Well, it's a lot of work. I mean, there was
A lot
like 20 volunteers out there that day,
Yeah,
and it took them all morning to weed that. It's
And-
not a one-person job.
And the Boy Scouts used to be there every summer, and that was what I was under the impression of, and when it wasn't happening, it's,
Yeah.
as much as I would love to walk down there at night and weed it out every day, that's, not necessarily a Chelsea time slot that's available.
Don't even
So-
weed my own flowers.
Well, and I adopted the south loop of the airport trail, what's it called, Van Dyke Park?
Mhm.
But that doesn't mean that I am responsible for like maintaining it.
Yeah,
It's just,
I just felt bad that, like, I didn't provide any follow-up, so I felt guilty there. But again, we're gonna get better as a board, across the board. We're just keeping an eye on them and staying more in the loop of it. Okay, I think that's pretty much it. Yep, I think we're good on that. And, off to Mike for his updates with all the wonderful things he does for Red Lodge.
Yay.
Now we get to talk about what works, like
Woo!
stormwater.
would you rather
water,
be,
parks,
on the very first?
streets, doesn't matter.
Okay.
I'll throw
I think it makes
quick.
sense to put him first,
I can put
honestly.
you, okay, I'll put you
So,
first next time.
With stormwater project, we've had a lot of, once we crossed over Broadway, things have slowed down quite a bit, a lot of difficulties over there. We have 15 days left until substantial completion is supposed to be achieved by the contract. And we are probably gonna, substantial completion is all the main line in the ground. I think we're gonna make that, it's gonna be tight. We have 33 total days remaining. We're gonna go over that.
Yep.
But I don't think it's gonna be anything we didn't make a stink about. I don't think anybody needs to talk about LDs or anything like that. They've done a great job. I've got a schedule. We did probably one of the biggest complaints we've had, and it's all occurred since we crossed Broadway, is notification of people. And it's, We did the same thing we did on Platt, and it worked pretty good. It seems like we're in a different neighborhood over there, so.
More active.
I know.
We.
People in Platt are more laid back and.
Chill on this side of that road.
People are touchy. Well, it's funny, 'cause like we're doing all the surveying work for next year's sewer project, so we called in a bunch of locates.
Mhm.
And this is a different part of town. I get 3 calls a day from people that wanna know what all the marks in the alley are about. People are really involved, and it's like.
Yeah, they are.
It's just a locate.
They're like
Anyway.
helicopter residents, they're like
A
helicopter
schedule
parents.
of where we're going in the future, color coded, all pretty, and it'll be posted. I'm sure you guys get it in the email, and we just updated this today of where we're going based on where we're at today and where we foresee things go. The city, we stepped up a little bit from our perspective, because my belief on, and I've been through a lot of these projects, is this is our project, even though the contractor's doing it. If we can get out there and help, it helps us. So we've been going out ahead of them and backing out all the utilities so that they're located. We wizard stick them, GIS them, so that, or GPS them, so that that's allowing them to move faster. So we've spent a lot of time doing that.
Definitely to our benefit to have this done before this
Yeah,
year,
no,
you know.
it's our project.
Yeah,
It's in our benefit, it goes smooth and it's done well, so, and they're doing a great job. We did locate, 3 inlets that weren't on the plans, that were tied to the sewer, that we've now added so that they won't be missed. And we did add 1 inlet that wasn't in the plans, right behind the IGA. The IGA is kind of built funky with that low thing. They get a lot of flooding water in there, so we're putting an inlet right there to hopefully capture that water before it can get in there. We won't get it all, but it will help. So that's stormwater. Water, I think last time I talked about, we were looking at the 2 next water projects and the possibility of combining them to get a larger project, which would then qualify us for the possibility of greater forgiveness from the loan. Through conversations with SRF and looking at the estimated cost of these projects, reading between the lines of what SRF says, and they can't say predict the future, but they're encouraging us to put together a big project. They have BIO monies left over, and that's the infrastructure, or what it is.
Yes.
It's federal money. If they don't get it used up, it goes back to Washington, so they're kind of looking for things. And again, that's where having these shovel-ready projects is, it puts us in a good spot. My concern was, I didn't want to roll the 2 projects together because one of them is partially funded with impact fee money, and I didn't want to muddy that water because that impact fee money is designated by the impact fee study to be spent on a certain project, and it will be. I didn't want to combine the projects and kind of make muddy water.
Yep.
SRF said we could fund the 2 projects, keep them separate. My other concern was I didn't want to try to do 2 water projects simultaneously because it would just be too much. They said we could phase them out. We could do one year, one the other year, all one loan, and it would be a big enough loan that we would qualify. Doesn't mean we get the 75% forgiveness, which is can be up to $5 million,
Oh, gosh,
which is about the cost of both projects.
that's awesome.
That would be like a grant that would pay for it.
Wow.
We, in order to get the forgiveness, we have to take the loan. We looked at our current rates, we looked at our current debt service. We could do the loan without raising the rates. So we have that amount of cushion in our rates right now. because we paid off other loans to do that. So at some point, we're gonna have a discussion where the council's gonna vote on this. But that's kind of the rough strokes of what it would look like if we wanted to try and go for that 75% forgiveness. The other option is don't and just treat each project independently. Then we can get up to 50% forgiveness for $1 million. So
I like 75, 5 million.
I like, there is risk.
Yeah.
The forgiveness comes after the loan.
So if we were to take the loan and not get the forgiveness, would rates have to go up?
Nope.
Okay.
But
I
it
think
would,
that's a good
it
risk
would
then.
impact our ability to do more projects on the road.
Yep.
Because our debt service, basically then, if we want to do other projects down the road, we would have to dig into our reserves, or we would have to take out an additional loan, which at that point,
There's a lot.
we wouldn't have the room in our rates to service that new debt.
What's the term of the loan?
With that,
What's the term of the loan?
they're mostly 20 years,
Okay.
and this is all theoretical right now.
I'm totally interested. I'm just
Um,
curious how it only can impact you.
The one we just got for the stormwater project, which was an SRF loan, was 20 years, pretty sure.
and remind me what SRF is?
State revolving fund.
Do you know the interest rate on
I did.
Okay.
It's fairly low, yeah. I remember,
2 point sub or 3,
yeah, I remember it being around 3.
yeah,
But that's-
2.8 or 9.
This is also just jarring old memories from, like,
And what's the
February.
timeline on putting something like that together?
If we all get on the same page and everybody's on the same page, I think we could have this project, the first project, which would be the 16-inch bypass,
Excuse me. Yep.
which was,
something that
which
needs to
the
happen.
city kind of committed to when the golf course subdivision went in.
30 years ago.
And that's why, that's what the impact fees are set aside for.
Yeah.
There's 800,000 there that go towards it. That project could go to bid in January if we,
So you could
If we
apply
put-
for the loan, and then if you got it, then put it out to bid in January?
yeah,
So
we
quick.
probably want to do it a little cleaner than we did the stormwater, because we kind of had the project out to bid before we got the loan.
Yeah, let's not do that again.
Yeah, and that,
I didn't like how that made me look at it.
it worked, but it causes a lot of duress,
Yeah.
so.
I'd much rather have a loan in place than put it out to bid.
But, you know, that's kind of, that's the next step with the water. And the other project that would be involved with that is, it's called the 2023 Water Rehab Project, and that's it was put together before I started, in design. It still has some room for some changes, and I think we would make some changes to it. It includes getting rid of some concrete asbestos lines in Park Avenue, and that's a dead-end line, and you don't ever, those are not great because they get stagnant water, plus if you have a problem, everyone's out of water. If it's looped, you can bring water in from the other side, isolate the leak, and your people aren't hauling water. We want to loop that in, bring it under the creek and tie it in, at Adams, at 308.
And that's the water rehabilitation project?
Yeah, and that's part of that. Another part of that, which is one that we may take out and add some other things, would be, there's a water line that basically comes down and stops right before the red box car on the east side of the highway, and it's a dead end. There's a water line that comes up behind, I can't remember the name of that motel that's,
The gross one?
what's that?
The gross one or the good one?
The gross
I'm
one.
I can't say that.
I know.
Anyway,
Like one
there's a water
record,
line
you
that comes up Grant Street, and basically dead ends at the backside of that motel. And so we come from the red
The loop
box
line.
car under the highway.
No,
and
that would be Beartooth Hideaway.
Yeah.
they on the highway?
Yeah.
Fair
Oh, I
Creek
think the
Highway.
19th, isn't?
No, you
No,
said
it's a
Grant.
Grant.
Yeah, that's Fairtooth Highway.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And, that portion of the project presents a lot of problems. We don't even know where that main line is back there. We don't have easements to cross through the highway.
There's not really an alley back there, there's
Um,
both lots just to
It's
butt up against each
It's something
other.
that needs to happen. I think in order to make it happen, we need to do some groundwork first and work with those people, get some easements, have a plan, do some more investigation on our end, find out where the water line really is. We don't know. The other part of the project is we've got some sections between previous projects where there's old cast iron mains still out there, and they probably still have the lead loops on them. These are 100-year-old pipes. They'd be like mostly 1 and 2 block sections. We dig those up, replace them, get rid of those lead. The chunk of lead's only about this long, it's just a loop that comes off. But EPA, is not, they're allowing them right now. The clock's ticking on that, so we'd be better off getting ahead of it and get rid of them. And there's one other place, same thing, where we're taking out some old cast iron. With all the GIS stuff, been able to look at it, you can visualize what's been done and what hasn't. We've identified about 4 areas where we have sections between 8-inch pipes where people are serviced by an old 4-inch cast iron pipe, 7 years old. So what I'd like to do is add those to the project, take out the one from the red box car. Because, we don't even have the easements for that. And then it would probably come out, but then we'd run a line up 22nd where we have lots of problems, and have that as a project. So, and that would probably be like a 2026 project.
Okay.
But still under that same funding scenario.
Okay.
That's a lot. Did you get
That's a
all-
lot.
That's a lot. Did you get it all? I don't know if I got it all.
I think I mean, that was very clear to me, so, yeah, I think I got most of it in there, just,
In
Yeah.
terms of on-the-ground stuff with water, we finally got that hydrant replaced that got ran over last winter at the circle.
Oh, yeah.
It's a 1-year warranty on the water project that put the PRV valve in. We identified 4 things that we didn't like with that, so COP Construction is back in town today and tomorrow working on that. We'll see how they do. And the normal water stuff, service lines, things like that. Sewer, we're in the final stages of surveying for next year's project, which is we have a grant in place for it, I think, and we have some reserve money. We're gonna try to take, I talked to the auditors, and I don't think there's any problem with that. When we did the project for the lift station in the force main, like, I can't remember, 2016 or 17 maybe, that was identified in the impact fee study as a use for the impact fees. But we didn't use the impact fees for it, we used reserve money. So I asked the auditor if we could go back with documentation that we used reserve money for this when we should have used impact fee money, and take the impact fee money and put it in our reserves. And they said we could.
Cool.
And there's 1.3 million sitting in that impact fee, I think. I'm not sure if that's what I remember. So that will help pay for some of these sewer projects. The sewer project that we're hoping to put out for bid this winter, that would happen next summer, would be all relining. It would be no digging, well, maybe a little digging here and there, but it's a project where they shoot liners in existing mains, epoxy liners. Basically, it's a new pipe inside the old one. I've done quite a bit of that when I was in Shotos. There's a crew around, but they're not digging up, and
Yeah, they did like a hole, and then,
no, they go right through a manhole. But it would be that stretch of sewer line that's on the west side of Broadway, right behind the businesses, and that sewer line is
yeah.
like
Oh, it's like
12
20
to
feet deep or
14
something?
feet
Yeah.
deep, and it's 100 years old. It's a ticking time bomb, so that'll be a good project. And like I said, right now, we're working on filming some of that pipe so that we know what we're getting into. The surveyors are out surveying all the utilities, so that can all be on the drawings for the bidding. And hopefully that will go to bid in January. Parks, not too much. This week we got good weather. We are gonna seal, hopefully, the skate park. We did a little test run with our sealing skills today and did Pride Park. We washed it last week and the concrete there is not very good, but it looks better, I think. So hopefully we'll be sealing skate park this week. There's some graffiti in there we gotta get off first. Hopefully they'll, there's a guy that built this skate park, got all the money together for it. He's got some stuff he's supposed to take the graffiti off for us.
Oh, Reynolds?
On streets, we got all the FEMA paving projects done. There's some cleanup left to be done. We did add to what they were gonna pave a little bit, just given the fact that from when the initial analysis was done and they looked at it, when it actually got done, that project actually was bid last year and never got done. A lot of that pavement degraded that we're gonna tie into, so we expanded some of it. That project's gonna probably come in 60,000 over what it was bid at. Our match will be a little bit higher. We have to match 12.5%. I don't think it'll be a problem budget-wise, and I don't think it'll be a problem with FEMA. So that, I think it came out pretty good. We kind of had our arm behind our back on those little strips down in Hagen, Platt, that's all they would do, so.
My dad was out there directing that.
What's that?
My dad was out in front of his house, making sure they didn't disturb his new gravel years
You know,
before.
it's kind of stupid to pave this much, but it looks better. I'm worried what the plows will do to it, but we'll
Yeah.
cross that bridge when we get there.
Any update on EDA grant?
What?
EDA grant?
I haven't heard a thing.
Nothing?
Every time I ask, they're waiting. So I'm starting to, it's starting to smell a little bad around.
How about
I
sidewalk?
have my fingers crossed, but,
How about sidewalk? on Broadway?
Oh, yeah, well, we got the sidewalk money through resort tax for that project. I got the grinder ordered, the contractor's gonna do the lifting portion. Because the way those small panels lift, he wanted to be able to grind if needed right after. He wanted us to have the grinder in place before he started.
Where's lifting?
So I got the grinder ordered. It's supposed to be here about a week ago. I got a call today. They're gonna bring it up Thursday. And we're gonna go through the demo with it, and we should be rolling on that. It'll just be piecemeal, when we can. Hopefully mostly all early morning work. And we'll get done as much as we can until the weather gets bad.
Okay, thank you.
That's pretty much it.
Perfect. Good timing on that.
Yeah.
Any other comments from the room?
Right.
Boy, that was great. I do have one comment.
Okay.
As a citizen of Red Lodge and so forth, I just want to say I'm really impressed with Mike's approach to projects and dedication, and I think one of the things that showed it was the fact that even though a contractor's working on something, it's Red Lodge project, so he's out there making sure they can do what they can do when they have time. So as a citizen, I really appreciate that approach and that attitude.
I think that is a consensus.
We like to make
so, I congratulate you.
Yes.
And grinding it and digging it.
I know, only her can sing, so.
Definitely grinding it.
All right.
Somebody is the grinder.
Well, I think we can adjourn that meeting then. Get a quick little 15-minute break before the next meeting. And
You must be bored.
Yeah.
Man,
what are you doing here?
you know, if you wanna stay here and I'll leave, I wanna work on my Jeep tonight.
Better luck to you.
Are you guys done?
Yes, we adjourned it.
Okay, I will hit the topic. You wanna do it?